What's up, guys? We are back with another retro Spider-Man wave figure, taking a look at another villain that I have needed for a while because I don't have his earlier figure. We're taking a look today at the new retro Electro figure, which I am very excited about because, again, I need this guy, so it's something that's been high on my list, but not something I've wanted to pay aftermarket prices for, so there you go. So we've got him here on the retro-inspired card back, so giving off those 90s cartoon vibes again, a lot of Toy Biz, nostalgic feels. We've got the figure in the window, Spider-Man logo up top, some artwork of him on the side, and then the back of the package has more of that artwork, a little bit of a write-up, some demo of how his accessories work, and then a cross-sell with the rest of the wave. So let's do it. Let's pull him out and take a look. And here he is out of the package, our new retro-style Electro, a figure that, like I said, is one that I've really been looking forward to in this wave because I don't have an Electro, and I never went out of my way to try and get that Electro that I never really tried to buy in the first place because it was at a different time in Legends buying for me. So it's nice to be able to get this figure finally, and frankly, this is the version that I preferred, and I think it has at least one upgrade from that original figure, but there are a few others to talk about, I think. So let's take a look and see how this guy moves around because he is, of course, on a different body. The original Electro was on the Pizza Spidey body, so he's a smaller, more slender figure that also has butterfly joints. This is, like the Spider UK body, so we've seen this most recently with Marvel, for reference's sake. So a little bit beefier, still not huge, but a little bit more muscular, kind of stockier. So the head can look pretty far up. He can look down pretty good. Of course, you do have to watch his mask. It's going to start to bow out. There isn't really any tilt on this head. You do have full rotation. Arms go out at the shoulders. This is that body where you have to kind of push down to get them to go in. Otherwise, you run the risk of kind of cutting into the top of the shoulder. They rotate. There is no butterfly joint on this figure. You do have bicep swivels. We've got our double jointed elbows, of course. And then you've got hinges and rotation at those wrists. He's got a crunch, he goes backwards, forwards really good. You got your waist twist. Legs go out about that far. They kick forward higher than 90, a little bit on the back, and then you've got your thigh cut, double jointed knees, and then you've got your shin swivel, and then you got rocker, and you got a really good hinge down there. So he moves pretty well. I mean, he's still kind of standard for Legends, nothing too crazy. He certainly doesn't have any kind of more modernized or new articulation that we've been seeing, but he does move really well, and I think this body really, really suits this character rather than the more slender Pizza Spidey body. This figure's main focus for me, though, is undoubtedly the look and the classic design that we've got here. This is what I think of when I think of Electro. So it's a very, very simple design, green and yellow with a few little, kind of fringes to his outfit. But for the most part, it's a pretty plain body. Your standard chest, arms, legs, and then he does have his lightning bolt cuffs, which I think look really great. It gives a very classic retro vibe. Colors on this figure are really vibrant. Everything pops. I don't really have too many things to harp about when it comes to any kind of paint imperfections or blemishes. For the most part, it's okay, except for one spot here on his boots. There is a little bit of a scuff down there, but for the most part, he looks really good. The chest is nicely done. The back is really good, and then, of course, you do have some black accents that lead up to the mask, but the rest of the figure, I think, looks nice, and again, kind of plays off the fact that I think this body works better for this character. I don't think of a really thin Electro. I think of a slightly beefier, just kind of more normal guy, not really, really tiny. And that Pizza Spidey body is really small compared to most other Marvel Legends, at least on the thin side of things. So I really like this. It makes him look a little bit more imposing, a little bit more menacing, and it works. Like, outside of the fact that he does lose a butterfly joint compared to that older figure, I think it works really well, and it looks the part quite nicely. Granted, the big defining characteristic for this figure is, and likely always will be, this ridiculous mask. And I think he looks great from the neck up. I mean, this is the big thing for me when it comes to this guy. Outside of the lightning bolt accents on his gauntlets, this is the big defining characteristic for this figure because it is just so different. And in some respects, just kind of goofy and really weird. And I really like this. It is done up in kind of like a pliable plastic, so it does bend and it will kind of flow with him as you move that head. Just kind of watch out when you're moving it. But it looks really good. The yellow is really vibrant, saturated, and bright. And then you've got pretty cleanly applied paint job underneath as far as what's on the mask, so the eyes and then the teeth, and he does have kind of a slightly wild, slightly crazed expression going on there, but it's all about the mask, all about the lightning motif, and I mean, for my money, I think they really knock it out of the park when it comes to this particular design. It sells the idea of this character really well. And then when it comes to accessories, this is another area where we get some reuse from that older figure. He has 2 accessories, and this is where things are kind of improved, I think, from that older figure. Granted, this figure does not have a swappable head, but personally, I do not care about an unmasked Electro. For me, it's all about showing off his powers, and we do get the lightning effect hands that came with that original figure, but they're done up in full yellow. The one difference here is that that older figure only had lightning hands. He doesn't have any fists. This guy does, of course, as you've seen previously, come with the fists, and then you've got the option to swap out for powered hands, and these are translucent, so the whole hand is translucent, and then the actual hand itself has paint, and the lightning effects do not. So I'm really happy that they included these in this figure as an option to the fists. That was one negative for that older figure to me. I'm glad they rectified it here, and I think he looks great with those. They're very unique. They aren't really all that common in Marvel Legends, so it's cool to get these again. And of course, you know, if you need to, you can always throw in some borrowed lightning effects that we've gotten with other figures like, I don't know, Storm recently. So really, there's not a whole lot to say on this one. It's just a solid figure, I think. Granted, I've really been looking forward to this one, so, you know, my interest is kind of skewed, I suppose, but there's really not anything to complain about here. I like the body choice. Paint is nicely applied. The overall size of this figure works well. He moves nicely, and he comes with fixes, I should say, for the hand issue that the original figure had. He's got an option to have fists or the lightning effects hands. You don't have to be stuck with only those lightning effect hands if you don't want him to. So I'm glad we've got that, and I don't miss anything about not having butterfly joints on this figure. I don't miss the unmasked head sculpt. I think he looks good pretty much the way he is out of the package. Throw those lightning effect hands on him and you are ready to go. So that's going to do it for this look at the Marvel Legends Retro Electro figure. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and until next time.